All right, folks, I'm gonna show y'all how simple it is to reset the trap. This is one of the first traps that, old prototype trap that we came up with when we were designing the Big Pig, and it caught a bunch of hogs. But the trigger mechanism and the winch system and everything's still the same. They all set up the same, they just look a little bit different. So this is how you set it up. It's really simple. First thing you're gonna do is your winch is already loose, so you want to winch it down until you get the cable. You're gonna get the cable loose till it goes all the way down and hooks down here on the bottom. So then when you get it loose, it comes all the way down. The hook's right down here. And that's what you're gonna, that's what's gonna raise the trap up. You hook it up, gotta hook it up on this end, and go over here and we'll hook it up on this other end. And you do the same thing down here on this other end. Make sure that your cable comes down over the pulley, and it comes all the way down, and it hooks on this end. You know, you always want to make sure that your trigger cable that's hooked into your hog eye cameras still connected. We always put a little tape over it just to keep insulated. I mean, it's waterproof, but we keep it insulated from rain, and also just in case that when the trap falls that it doesn't come apart. But you always want to check that connection, make sure you're still connected good to your hog eye camera, because that's the game changer. That's what makes it all work right there. All right, after you got your winch hooked up like this, everything's hooked up, we're gonna come in here and just reset it, raise the trap up. So it's really important when you start setting, when you first set your trap up, that you've got your cable even on each end, because you want the trap to come up level. And if you got one side of the cable too long or too short, then it's going to raise cockeyed. So you want to make sure you adjust those. It takes a little bit. Once you get it set, you're good to go. Just let your winch catch it in place, and then you're going to go to set your trigger. As you can see, it's probably 3 foot off the ground all the way around. Once it comes up, and you can see it, the bracket, the guides come up to the bottom of the brace there. So you're good to go. Very simple now. Just got to set our trigger. All right, the trigger comes in right here, comes down over the pulley. And like I said, this is a prototype. The new models look a little bit different, but the design's pretty much the same. Your cable comes down, hooks into your catch here for your trigger. Then it runs along over here, and this is where you hook your trigger up. Be sure and set your trigger. Typically when we first set these up, we drop them a couple of times, manually drop them. You've seen us do that in the past just to make sure everything's working right. We've had this trap set in here for quite a while. It's really dry, it's not a muddy area, so we're not worried about spraying the legs down too much here. And we know it's dropping good because we've just caught in the last, well, we've caught 2 big boar in the last 3 nights. So everything's working good. We're just gonna reset the trigger and rebait, and we'll be done. Comes over your bar right here, and you're good to go. Now we're gonna go over here and we're gonna let the winch down. And at that point, the trap is set and rested completely on the trigger system, so that when you bump that arrow on the hog eye, it's going to drop. It releases the trigger system, causes the trap to fall. Now that we got our trigger set and in place, we're going to come back over and release the winch, take the tension off the winch, ease it down. Now you can see how loose the cable is for your winch. So the trap is completely caught on the trigger wires now, the trigger cables now. So it's set, it's ready to be activated. When you get done, come over here. After you've got, leave your winch loose. After you get done, go over on each side and unhook your winch cables and just let them hang there. On the newer models, there's a bracket for you to hook them into, but like I said, this is an old prototype model, so we just leave the winch loose on each side and just let it hang loose like that right there. And as you can see, the entire trap is hooked up to is now caught and attached by the trigger system. So it's hot, as the old saying, it's hot, it's ready to go. So that's how you reset the trap. It's really simple. You know, it took me, well, if I wasn't doing this video, it would have took me 2 minutes. So now I'm gonna bait and I'm gonna get out of here. Hopefully we can catch in here again tonight.